You know how some people don't just learn things, they seem to, completely transform them. It's not that they're just smarter or faster, it's like they're running on a totally different kind of mental software. Today, we're going to break down what that software is, what this engine is, and how you can start building one for yourself. All right, let's get into it.
So let me just start with this one simple question, and I want you to be honest with yourself. When you come across new information, what do you do with it? Do you just sort of absorb it, consume it as is? Or are you someone who takes it, breaks it apart, and builds something new out of it? That difference right there is everything.
So on one hand, you've got what we can call bounded thinking. This is the default mode for most of us. It's passive. It's about taking in what's already out there and working within the known rules. And then you've got recursive thinking. This is totally different. It's active. It's about transforming ideas, and it actually generates its own momentum. These are two completely different ways of operating, and one of them is a trap.
And that trap, that place where most people live, you can think of it as the fog of the known. It's comfortable in the fog, right? It's familiar. But the problem is, you can't see very far. It's the space that's defined by everything we already think is true.
And what creates this fog? Well, it's all this stuff. It's our existing beliefs, the stories we tell ourselves, the limits we accept without question, and the possibilities we think are the only possibilities. All of this creates these invisible walls that just box our thinking in.
And this is the perfect way to put it. This is what happens when you're stuck in the fog. If you're always digging where everyone else has already dug, what are you going to find? The same old stuff, right? Maybe you find a slightly shinier version of what's already been found, but you are never, ever going to discover a brand new gold mine.
So how in the world do you get out? It's not some complicated 12-step program. It's a single, powerful moment of realization. It's a catalyst that just flips a switch in your brain and lets you see beyond the fog for the first time.
And this is it. This is the thought. This is the switch. The second you truly, deeply understand that everything you know is just a tiny, insignificant speck compared to what's actually possible, boom, the walls of that foggy room just start to crumble. Real growth, the kind that matters, starts right here with this one dose of humility. So here's the kicker. The biggest discoveries aren't just hidden. They're in places nobody is even bothering to search. Why? Because the fog makes them think there's nothing there to find. The next huge breakthrough isn't just behind a curtain waiting to be found, it's in a room that hasn't even been imagined yet. And that, my friends, is where the real opportunity is.
Okay, so we've escaped the fog. Now what? Well, this is where we get to the other path. This is where we start building that idea engine we talked about, the one that can navigate outside the fog. This is the active, creative, recursive mind.
So what exactly is recursive intelligence? Think of it like this. It's not a warehouse for storing ideas. It's a factory. It takes in raw materials, knowledge, ideas, and it actively reconfigures them to produce something brand new. It's the difference between following a recipe and literally inventing a new type of food.
And here's the blueprint for that factory. It's basically a 4-step cycle that runs over and over. First, you take an idea and you smash it down into its most basic parts. Think of them like Lego bricks. Second, you start snapping those bricks together in new, sometimes weird combinations. Third, you have to test your new creation. Does it actually work in the real world? And fourth, based on what you learn, you rebuild it and make it better. It's a constant loop of deconstruction and creation.
I know, that might sound a little bit out there. So let's look at what this engine actually produces. How does it work in practice? Well, you can see a really clear progression, like climbing a ladder. So the person with bounded thinking sees a new tool and just uses it. But the recursive thinker sees that same tool and immediately starts thinking, how can I combine this with other tools to build a system? Then they look at that system and think, wait a minute, what kind of entirely new world could exist on top of this system? They don't just see the next step, they see 2 or 3 levels up.
And that is the absolute core of it all. The goal is never just to use the new shiny object. The goal is to take it apart, understand its fundamental design, and pull out the higher level patterns. That's how you go from being a consumer of the future to an architect of it.
Now, this leads us to the highest level of this kind of thinking. It's not just about building stuff. It's about shaping the entire environment where things get built and where people make decisions.
Let's use chess as an analogy. An OK player thinks about force. They think, I'm going to attack your piece. But a grandmaster? They think about structure. They couldn't care less about your bishop right now. They're focused on shaping the entire board,
controlling key squares, and quietly taking away all of your good moves before you even realize it.
They open up highways for their own pieces while systematically putting up roadblocks for yours. They make these quiet little moves that force you to react in a predictable way. They build this suffocating pressure without ever launching a big, obvious attack. And the opponent, they just feel stuck, completely cornered, without knowing exactly how they got there. It is total, invisible dominance.
So, what does this all mean for you? What's the big takeaway here? The ultimate goal isn't just to think outside the box. It's to become the person who builds the box in the first place, to become a structure builder.
And this idea just ties it all together perfectly. We are obsessed with mental speed, right? Who can solve the problem the fastest? But that's not real intelligence. Real intelligence is the ability to build new structures, new frameworks, entirely new maps of reality. It's not about running faster down the same old road. It's about paving a completely new one.
And I promise you, this is not just some philosophy. For anyone out there building a product, leading a company, creating literally anything, this is the job. Your real job isn't just to make tiny improvements. It's to shape the environment for your customers, for your team. It's to generate a new level of reality, where things that were impossible yesterday are now obvious. So I'm going to leave you with this question. Look at what you're working on right now. Are you just digging in the same spot as everyone else, making a slightly better version of what already exists? Or are you using this recursive engine to build a structure, to build a whole new world? The choice is up to you.